Is there anyone in the room with us? I hear your name is Bert. You don't have to be afraid. I'm going to put this recording device on the bed here and just talk into it. It's a way we can communicate.
Hi, my name is Winston Zedmore, and I want you to turn on this flashlight.
It's okay to try to communicate with us. Just push the button on the back of that flashlight.
Dude, nothing is going to happen.
Alright, I have a better idea.
Yeah, you sure this is gonna work?
Totally.
Alright.
1, 2.
Ajazz encrypted. Ajazz encrypted. Ajazz encrypted. Okay, I got a style right there. Oh, fucking just ruptured my spine.
Hello everyone, and welcome to day 4 of Ajazz Encrypted's Week of Halloween. I'm a vampire.
I'm a hillbilly cowboy.
Yeah,
Something.
uh,
I'm badass.
you're a badass. And these things really suck, and I won't be able to talk with these the whole episode, so guess what? I'm going to take them out. I spent enough money on them, so I just had to wear them, and now they're just going to sit here on the side. That's wonderful. So, what we really wanted to talk to you about now is the fact that this stuff is still going on. It's actually been pretty scary lately. There have been more reports. New York City, Boston,
Philadelphia, Scranton,
and good old Scranton have actually had reports of people
citing
these things.
strange creature
Yeah.
thing, but supposedly they're very fast. So like nobody's been able to kind of
And this is the
get
kind
a good look or get a capture of footage of it.
This is the kind of stuff that everyone has been like denying all these years, and nobody would ever believe Area 51 crap. You know, it's like it's just a weather balloon and blah blah blah. You have got to know that that's a cover up. There's no way that wasn't real. Why would it be one day in the paper that there was a flying saucer and the next day that it was something else? It's just a cover up. It has to be. All right, you know. So, well, anyway, we have a show to do. So, our first segment is books and film. And we're going to do books because a lot of films are adapted from books. So
Yeah, some of the greatest horror films like are adapted from from either scary stories or books. I mean, obviously Stephen King is one of the biggest examples of this genre where obviously he writes books, that's his thing, but then people adapt his books.
Right.
The Shining is one of the the most notables. But then you go to classic tales like Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, which has been adapted many different times. Even graphic novels. Alan Moore did From Hell, which is also adapted into a movie with Johnny Depp and Heather Graham.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see like all these different mediums or different types of written works be adapted into movies. It's awesome.
And then there's other books that are just fun to read, like More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I don't know if you've seen these things, but they're just really old. Like, all of the artwork inside of them are awesome. That's about the best part of the book because the writing is just kind of bad. It's really bad. It's meant for kids,
Mm-hmm.
and that's understandable. But if it's meant for kids, why are the drawings so incredibly awesome and scary? He also wrote. This guy his name is what the heck's his name? Alan. Well, anyway, you'll see right here. Then there's In a Dark, Dark Room by the same author, and In a Dark, Dark Room is what we had adapted
That very
The
first thing you saw on Monday. That intro, the very slow, creepy thing where we get to the box at the end. Yeah, that was based on in a dark, dark room. Also, one of the biggest authors to kind of write books for, at least for kids, for Halloween, are the Goosebumps books, written by R.L. Stine.
So here's a little segment that we have for you. All right, so we have some Goosebumps books in front of us here, and these go way, way back, baby, way, way back.
This is authentic. So, I mean, if you grew up if you were alive in the 90s, I guess, the early 90s to late 90s, you'll have heard of Goosebumps books. They even made it into a show on Fox Kids, which were actually it's really funny because that show, a lot of people start on there, like Ryan Gosling is in one of the episodes of Goosebumps, because I was randomly watching one. They have I don't know if it's every year, but the last 2 years they did a very long marathon on Adult Swim where it's like a whole day of Goosebumps episodes. Like, it was like on Halloween or the day before, but like they show them the entire like month. I don't know if they did it this year. I haven't checked. I should check, because they're really cheesy, but it's cool to watch back on that, because they make it sort of like a Grindhouse-esque type deal. You know what I mean? Sort of like that. Anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, we just want to have this little segment because I have a ton of these books. I don't have every one.
As do I.
But I have a lot of them. There's even a couple doubles, I think, around here somewhere. Anyway, but
why don't we just read some titles?
There are crazy books. Remember The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, One Day at Horrorland.
Yeah, Werewolf Skin,
Monster Blood,
Go Eat Worms.
You probably remember a lot of these.
The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Attack of the Jack-o'-lanterns. I mean, they go on and on.
Classics. Anyway, so the thing is, for me, it was more about collecting rather than actually reading a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, I read some of them, not all of them. I still haven't read all of them to this day. Like, I couldn't tell you what happens in this book. I probably couldn't tell you what happens in this one.
I remember this one.
Anyway, but I remember in the early 92 they started coming out, and it was right around the time 94, 93 when they started coming out that I started collecting them, and I had I would get them every time a new one would come out, which would be about every month, well, maybe after every couple months maybe. Release one anyway, and I would buy them. And I remember in elementary school, when I was in 3rd grade or 2nd grade, around there, we weren't allowed to rent them out of the library because only 4th and 5th graders were able to rent them out because they were too scary for the younger grades, even though I owned like half of the Goosebumps collection. So this is all of them that I own. There's a whole bunch of them. There's even these reader beware, choose the path type deal. There's all different endings.
One of those, I don't think.
But it's cool to look back on these and get a little nostalgic over it. It's pretty cool. So
back to you guys. Now on to something we all love to do. Get scared. Halloween movies are some of my favorite movies.
My favorite thing about Halloween.
Yeah, definitely.
Watching scary movies.
And there are a lot of Halloween-themed movies that allude to Halloween, and some are just purely Halloween.
Some most of these take place on Halloween, which is kind of like, it's a Halloween movie. It's a scary movie, which is about Halloween, but it's also about Halloween in the story itself, which is like even better, you know.
So first up is Scream.
Now, we had a debate about this, whether it actually takes place on Halloween, but I figured there's a scene where the kid's talking about all the classic horror setups and, who dies first and things like that, which happens in the movie, and it was just really clever. So it's it's
mentionable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one, obviously,
Halloween
with Michael Myers, takes place on Halloween.
My personal favorite, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, which is a great one.
Yep.
Takes place on Halloween. And The Nightmare Before Christmas, which coincidentally also takes place on Christmas. Which is
weird.
Funny.
Very.
That's an interesting one. But
yeah.
And then,
your general Halloween movies. Or
you're scare horror movies.
The Shining.
Like we said,
Yeah.
Shining.
Right. The Shining.
Sleepy Hollow.
What do we have?
Jaws. Well, I consider Jaws a horror movie just because I didn't want to take a bath for like a week. I didn't want to go near water. I was scared of pools till I was like 15. Obviously not that one, but
I remember that stuff.
but I consider Jaws a scary movie.
Yeah, we've got
Also,
Dracula.
then there's, Sweeney Todd. We're going through the whole Johnny Depp lineup. Corpse Bride.
Yeah, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Ernest Scared Stupid.
That's not Johnny Depp, but
Then we have some classic movies. The original remake of the original Omen. Then some newer stuff. Some 28 Weeks Later, which are then you take on zombie movies. Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola. Just like the typical ones. And then you got Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, Friday the 13th, The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies. Nosferatu, Frankenstein. The works. The Exorcist.
And there's actually a really cool documentary on Nosferatu that you were just talking to me about.
Right, called Shadow the Vampire.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
Then new horror. There's a lot of... We'll just talk about what's going on now. First is Saw 3D.
Saw.
It's the first...
This is the 7th Saw.
And I think it's the last Saw.
Supposedly. In their contract, but I'm sure they'll make more.
Well, they'll renew it. He'll come back.
And also, in the last 2 years, Paranormal Activity, which kind of blew up the box office, which was made for like $15.37 to make that movie. And so they made another one, and now that's coming out soon. And then, if you've been paying attention, or I know last year, or actually in the summer when it came out, now it's out on DVD in time for the Halloween time of October. Nightmare on Elm Street did a remake with, what's his name?
Oh, Rorschach.
Right, but Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah.
And it was a remake of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but there's like the company that made this film was also the company that made the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Amityville Horror, and they're Platinum Dunes. And they've been remaking all these classic horror films like Friday the 13th and stuff like that, and they're going to continue to do these, which I think is pretty cool. Granted, I'd rather see new stuff kind of happen, you know what I mean? But it is cool to see kind of like a modern take on some of these classic like 80s horror movies and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like Psycho shouldn't be touched.
Right.
Again, and it has been. That's my opinion. All right, so today we have a special treat. We have a Halloween documentary for you. As you know, I've been working with PPRT, the Pennsylvania Paranormal Research Team. Me and my girlfriend have done a documentary for them, and now a feature length. And now we're doing I guess it's like a promotion for Dorney Park's Halloween Haunt and PPRT together. So take a look.
You will not survive our haunt tonight. For all you fear is here!
Hi, we're PPRT. We're here at Dorney Park in Allentown promoting their Halloween haunt and the PPRT team.
We're here at Dorney tonight to let the general public know that it's not all scary aspect of the investigations and stuff. We're also out here to talk with the general public, meet and greet with them, and just let them know that it's not always fearful what paranormal investigation involves.
I know there's a lot of rumors about and experiences here at Dorney Park. I mean, you have the one of the carousel. One legend that we received last night was that the guy that carves the horses for the carousel, his wife died in a fire with the horses from the carousel. Therefore, her spirit haunts the lead horse of the carousel, and the one that's here at Dorney Park is just a replica. The other legend with the carousel is that there was trouble in the marriage. He decapitated his wife. She was pregnant and put her head in the horse. So we don't know which one, but that's the one that's on the internet.
We do got to clarify that the carousel isn't a replica. It's just a horse.
Just the lead horse itself is a replica. We have the one of Subway.
Yeah.
There was a rumor of a little boy in the Wave Runner. I believe that's the ride, isn't it?
It's one of the water park rides, I believe. But there's also the claim that is in the Grove where the couple was out there, I guess, in their break time, I believe. It was a rumor that was actually told by an employee, we can't mention his name, but where they were out there having lunch and there was somebody sitting on the bench next to him, and it came time for him to go back to work. They forgot something at the bench and they quick turned around to go back and get it, and the person was gone. And that's just odd for that split second for somebody to be there and just not there all of a sudden. And for us coming out here to basically promote and help them open up the Halloween Haunt 2010 this year, to actually come to terms with that there's actual claims that do exist here that we didn't even know about.
Right.
When we were first asked to come here.
I mean, it's something that, it adds to the attraction of the park.
Yeah.
But it's also something, and maybe eventually we'll be able to talk to some of the employees, because from the stories we got about the one down at the Grove is the employees didn't want to work here anymore after they saw the apparition.
Yeah, and it's really not something you should constantly be afraid of, because there's nothing behind, there's stories behind it and research behind it, but as far as being scared over the exact thing or whichever, you don't have to, be afraid of anything, as long as it's not going to harm you or which not what they thought, I guess, to stop them from working here or going back to work. You should never be afraid to go back to work and live your life just because you got scared over something that may be haunted or maybe paranormal.
Making the documentary was pretty fun. We basically were escorted around by a really kind woman, and she took us to different roller coasters or events that were happening throughout the park. To give you a feel for it, every single light in the park was gelled, as you saw, if you didn't, and every ride had, they're kind of scary to begin with, so they just amped it up tenfold. They had different things that you could walk through, like a haunted forest or a haunted country western themed area. There was a corn maze, stuff we really couldn't show in the documentary because you don't want to ruin it for people that are going there. And there was about halfway through we found out that there were actually paranormal claims throughout the park over the years, and we had certain people I guess employees talk about their experiences or other people's experiences. And we learned about, I don't know, things we didn't expect. So it was really a fun process because we went into it with one focus and came out with another focus. So that was a really fun thing to make. And it was, and just go to it. Go see Dorney Park's Halloween Haunt. It was a blast. I would love to go again. And make sure you check out PPRT's website. Because they're the guys who were sponsored or were there and were promoting themselves, and so it's good stuff.
Very good. Very good. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for day 5.
Day 5.
Day 5, people. It's the last time, because tomorrow you're going to see some llamas.
Yeah, and what kind of food they make.